She was supposed to be the next big thing, the fierce face of a billion-dollar franchise. But somewhere between red carpets and rage tweets, Bella Ramsey went from breakout star to punchline. One minute she's winning hearts, the next she's being roasted by the Simpsons in front of the whole world. HBO cut her loose. The internet tore her apart. And now, her career's hanging by a thread. What the hell happened to Ellie's chosen one? Let's break it all down. Nobody saw her coming. One minute, Bella Ramsey was a kid with a handful of lines on Game of Thrones. The next, she was commanding entire scenes and stealing the spotlight from seasoned actors. Her portrayal of Lyanna Mormont, the fearless young ruler of Bear Island, turned her into an instant fan favorite. Fierce, sharp-tongued, unforgettable. That performance didn't just impress audiences, it sent a signal through the industry. This kid had something different, something raw, something real. So when HBO announced Bella as the lead in the live-action adaptation of The Last of Us, the internet lit up like wildfire. The game had a massive legacy, and Ellie was one of the most iconic characters in modern storytelling. Casting Bella was a bold move. Some fans were skeptical, others were outraged. She didn't look like Ellie, they said. But HBO doubled down, and Bella came swinging, and she delivered. From the first episode, Bella's performance silenced critics. Her version of Ellie was gritty, vulnerable, defiant, everything the story needed. Critics praised her range. Social media exploded with praise and fan edits, TikToks, Instagram reels, memes. She was everywhere. Awards buzz followed quickly. The industry crowned her the face of a new generation. Gritty enough for drama, wild enough for action, and unfiltered enough to feel real. In a matter of months, she went from breakout star to full-blown phenomenon. Season 2 was greenlit before Season 1 even ended. Talks of a trilogy swirled. Bella Ramsey wasn't just acting, she was ascending. The girl who'd once been cast as a last-minute surprise was now HBO's golden card. But sometimes, a rise that fast doesn't come without turbulence. Because just as Bella's name was echoing across red carpets, something behind the curtain started to shift. And that shift, it wouldn't just change her career, it would flip the entire narrative upside down. It started mid-sentence. Bella Ramsey appeared on Instagram Live, eyes red, voice shaking. What followed was 15 minutes of unfiltered emotion. She didn't name The Simpsons, but it didn't matter. She called out the system, the algorithm, and the fake friends who told her to smile through the hate. She accused industry insiders of turning on her. Her voice cracked as she said, "I'm done pretending." She was hurt, raw, furious. And then, just as suddenly, the stream ended. Deleted. But it was too late. Clips were everywhere. TikTok montages with sad music, YouTubers analyzing her breakdown. Comment sections split in real time. Some people offered support, others mocked her. One video caption summed it up. From Ellie to emo in 60 seconds. Her vulnerability had become content, and the internet devoured it. And as Bella unraveled in public, Hollywood was already closing the doors. When The Last of Us debuted, it wasn't just a success, it was a phenomenon. HBO had struck gold. Episode after episode, the numbers soared. Critics hailed it as one of the most faithful game adaptations ever made. Viewers couldn't stop talking about it. And at the center of it all was Bella. She wasn't just playing Ellie, she embodied her. She cried like Ellie, fought like Ellie, and delivered lines that pierced straight through the screen. It was raw and magnetic. Everyone, from late-night hosts to award show panels, was singing her praises. Bella's face appeared on every major magazine. She became the subject of think pieces, fan fiction, and endless reels celebrating her authenticity. Behind the scenes, HBO was thrilled. The show's reach was global, and plans for seasons 2 and 3 were already being fast-tracked. Bella was booked and busy. Panel shows, press tours, influencer events. She was praised for being outspoken, different, a little rebellious. She wasn't Hollywood polished, and that was refreshing, at first. But that bold voice that once felt so genuine, it was about to grow louder. Too loud for some. Because Bella wasn't just talking about her performance anymore. She started challenging the very story she was hired to tell. And once she opened that door, the entire narrative started to twist. At first, it was subtle. A comment here, an interview there. Bella started publicly suggesting that The Last of Us should take creative liberties. She began critiquing the game's original storyline, hinting that certain arcs were outdated or problematic. She spoke about representation, politics, and the need to reshape the narrative for modern audiences. It wasn't malicious. It sounded like an artist pushing boundaries. But the fan base? They didn't like it. Gamers who grew up with Ellie felt betrayed. Reddit threads exploded. Twitter, now X, flooded with hashtags like "Not My Ellie" and "Last of Us ruined." She went from being the embodiment of Ellie to someone fans felt didn't understand her at all. Every interview was dissected. YouTube commentators broke down her quotes frame by frame, accusing her of disrespecting the source material. Bella's voice, once celebrated, was now seen as disruptive. She had become a symbol of everything fans feared about Hollywood reboots, and the backlash wasn't quiet. It was building into something louder, something the studio could no longer ignore. And then, without warning, HBO pulled the plug. No press conference, no emotional farewell, just a clinical press release citing creative restructuring. Fans were stunned. Season 2 was already in pre-production. What happened? Insiders quickly revealed the truth. Bella's growing media presence had become a problem. Her interviews caused waves behind the scenes. Directors clashed with her on set. Test audiences weren't responding the way they had in Season 1. The magic was fading. HBO didn't just cancel the show, they distanced themselves from Bella entirely. According to reports, her team wasn't even told directly. The message was relayed by an agent. They're not moving forward, you're out. Just like that, the rising star was off the roster. No comment from HBO, no farewell post, just silence. But the entertainment world doesn't stay quiet for long. Because right as things hit rock bottom, The Simpsons entered the chat. It looked harmless at first, a typical satire episode called The Past of Us. Just another animated jab at the apocalypse genre. But fans quickly realized something darker was happening. The main character? A moody, overdramatic teen named Ramsey. It wasn't subtle. She stomped through Springfield screaming about trauma, slamming awards on the ground, and blaming her show's failure on pixelated patriarchy. The digs were razor sharp. She throws an Emmy because it's not diverse enough. She demands reshoots because the apocalypse isn't feminist. It was brutal. And worse, it was viral. TikTok clips of the episode spread like wildfire. Streamers, YouTubers, influencers, they all jumped in, laughing at how accurate it felt. Bella wasn't trending for her acting anymore. She was trending because The Simpsons had turned her into a national joke. And the worst part? Bella saw it all, live. The moment The Simpsons aired, it was like a match to gasoline. Within hours, the parody had been clipped, captioned, and memed across every platform. TikTok creators acted out scenes with dramatic voiceovers. YouTube breakdowns pointed out Easter eggs mocking her public statements. Even gaming influencers who never mentioned Bella before joined in. The verdict was brutal. The Simpsons didn't just roast her, they ended her. And then came the silence. Bella's social accounts went dark. No tweets, no posts, no damage control. But behind the scenes, reports said she was livid, crying, pacing, demanding her team respond. She allegedly called the parody a hate crime in animation. And when no response came, she took matters into her own hands. That's when she went live. And everything shattered. In the wake of her live stream breakdown, things didn't get better, they got quieter. And in Hollywood, silence doesn't mean healing, it means doors are closing. PR experts called it unrecoverable. Major agencies started quietly pulling back. Bella's name, once circled as a must-have for Gen Z-led projects, began appearing in internal memos with warnings like, Risk factor, high, and emotional volatility observed. Directors who had once praised her range were suddenly unavailable. Scripts stopped coming. Budgets vanished. The spotlight dimmed. One Netflix executive reportedly said, "She's got talent, but she's too online." Even Pedro Pascal, who had once championed her, began avoiding questions about their dynamic. Rumors swirled that he privately warned HBO about Bella's unpredictable energy. One alleged quote from him? "She needs a year of silence and soul-searching." But in an industry that thrives on image control, Bella's refusal to play by those rules had consequences. The meltdown wasn't just public, it was professional. And while her inner circle scrambled to contain the fallout, the fans were about to erupt. If you ever needed proof that fame can turn on a dime, just look at Bella's fanbase. Once a vibrant online community filled with support and celebration, it fractured into chaos. On one side, loyalists stood firm. Many from progressive spaces, including LGBTQ+ creators, defended Bella. They called her brave, vulnerable, a truth teller standing against the Hollywood machine. Hashtags like #Stand with Bella and Let Ellie Speak surged across X. A petition demanding HBO reinstate her gained tens of thousands of signatures. But the other side? They were done. Fed up with the drama, the politics, the interviews, the attitude. Threads cataloging every cringe moment flooded Reddit. Deleted posts resurfaced. Mocking memes went viral. One showed her mid-tears under the caption, "This is your queen." Fan pages on Instagram either shut down or rebranded to focus on Pedro Pascal only. Even Discord servers once devoted to her became battlegrounds. Fandom had become warfare, and behind all the hashtags and hot takes, HBO had already made its final move. Then came the leak. A supposedly internal HBO production memo surfaced on a niche industry blog, and it blew the lid off the rumors. According to the document, Season 3 of The Last of Us had already been under review for months. Early drafts weren't shared with Bella's team. Rewrites were happening in secret. And one chilling line stood out. "We may need a fresh face to carry forward." Insiders claimed Bella had become nearly impossible to direct. She reportedly challenged scripts, rewrote dialogue during shoots, and refused reshoots unless the material matched her personal messaging. One exec was quoted saying, "She wanted to be the star and the showrunner. She was neither." Tensions escalated. Shoots that should have taken half an hour dragged on for hours due to emotional delays. Directors grew frustrated. And while Bella believed she was evolving Ellie, HBO believed she was dismantling her. And then came the cultural nail in the coffin. The Simpsons wouldn't go away. What started as a savage one-off joke became something much bigger. The Simpsons parody didn't just go viral, it became iconic. TikTokers lip-synced to Smell Ramsey's rants. YouTubers broke down the episode line by line, pointing out every moment designed to mock Bella's public persona. The clips spread internationally. French comedy pages dubbed the scenes. A German satire site ran the headline, "Simpsons delete The Last of Us." Late-night shows piled on. Jimmy Kimmel joked, "Ellie got clickered by cancel culture." Saturday Night Live even dropped a short featuring Chloe Fineman playing a Bella-like character, sobbing over Rotten Tomatoes scores. It wasn't just parody anymore, it was legacy damage. The memes weren't about the character Ellie, they were about Bella Ramsey herself. And her silence during all of it only made it worse. Now, all eyes turned to one brutal question. Was this the end of her career? Let's be real. Bella Ramsey was on a trajectory most actors dream of. She had the intensity of a young Saoirse Ronan, the screen presence of Florence Pugh, and the backing of HBO. But in the span of a single year, she went from breakout star to cultural cautionary tale. Her final public act wasn't a comeback, it was a breakdown. And while Hollywood forgives many things, it rarely forgives a lack of control. The problem isn't just public opinion, it's perception inside the industry. Studios want safety, producers want predictability, agents want clients who listen. Right now, Bella is viewed as the opposite of all that. Maybe she's not blacklisted, But she's bench-listed, sidelined, flagged, and quietly pushed out of conversations that used to revolve around her. In a different world, she might have carried the next wave of prestige television. In this one, she's the actress mocked by The Simpsons, dumped by HBO, and left to watch as the character she once defined is now up for recasting. And that's the most brutal part of all. She didn't just lose the job, she lost the story. So where does that leave Bella Ramsey? Not blacklisted, but benched, not cancelled, just quietly erased. In less than a year, she went from Emmy buzz to industry do not disturb. The game didn't just delete her save file, it booted her from the server. Hollywood's moved on, the fans are divided, and Bella? She's a cautionary tale now. A reminder that in this business, you're either the star of the show or the punchline everyone shares.